All right, welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to dig into this really powerful idea of commitment. And what does it really mean to be all in? Not just showing up sometimes, but totally dedicated. We're looking at a sermon that breaks this down using a super simple but really effective analogy. Let's dive in. So the speaker kicks things off, not with some big abstract idea, but with something we can all relate to, his job. You know, he worked at a factory for decades, and he uses that whole experience as the foundation for everything he's about to say. He's basically telling us, hey, listen up. This isn't just some theory. This is real life.
So what did that commitment actually look like? Well, for 30 years, it was simple. He showed up, no matter what. He had a family that depended on him, He wanted to provide good things for them. And he knew if he was even a minute late, it could affect his pay. So he was always on time. He went to work even on the days he just didn't feel like it. It wasn't about glamour, not at all. It was just pure, raw, everyday dedication.
And right here, this is the turning point. He takes that image of his job, something so concrete, and he flips it. He uses it to ask this huge question. He says, okay, if that's what commitment to a job is, then what does it mean to have that same level of commitment to your faith, to your calling?
And wow, the comparison he draws is so sharp you can't miss it. His point is, if a factory job demanded that much, then commitment to God, that's got to be on a whole other level. There are no sick days you can call in for. You can't ask for a floating day. No excuses. If a regular job needs you to be there, then a spiritual calling, well, that demands all of you.
This really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's a tale of two mindsets. On one side, you've got faith as a part-time hobby, right? It's a sometime thing, something you do on Sundays. But on the other side, you have total commitment, which becomes your full-time identity. It's not about just being a preacher at church. It's about being that person everywhere, at the store, at work, with your family. It's a huge shift, moving from what's convenient to a constant way of living.
And a word he uses for this level of commitment is discipleship. But listen, this isn't just about ticking boxes or following a rule book. He's saying real discipleship is about expressing yourself in a Christ-like way. It's about letting that example shape everything. How you act, what you think, who you are. Every single day.
Okay, so this whole idea of total commitment, it's not just a feeling or a personal opinion. The speaker actually grounds it in Scripture. He lays out what he sees as a clear blueprint, something anyone can look at and follow.
And he zooms in on one specific verse, Psalm 37, verse 5, and presents it as basically a three-part formula for commitment. It's not just a nice line of poetry to him, it's a practical, step-by-step guide for taking what you intend to do and actually making it happen.
So here are the 3 steps he lays out. First, you commit thy way. You dedicate your path, your direction. Second, you trust also in him. You have to have faith in that dedication you just made. And third, he shall bring it to pass. That's the outcome, the promise that God will deliver. It's a really clear flow, right? You act, you trust, and then you receive.
And then he brings in another verse, from Proverbs this time, to build on that idea. And this adds a really interesting layer. See, it's not just about your overall path, but about committing your specific works, the things you do day in and day out. And what's the payoff? Your thoughts shall be established. In other words, you get the mental clarity, the focus you need to actually follow through. Okay, so this brings us to probably the most practical part of this whole idea. It's one thing to talk about commitment as this grand concept, right? But how do you actually live it? What does it look like in the real world, in ways that people can actually see? So he lays out this kind of, well, you could call it a job description for a believer. Your work isn't for some earthly boss. You work heartily as to the Lord. Everything you do, eating, drinking, your job, whatever, it's all done for a higher purpose. It means serving people. It means being an example for the next generation. And it means letting your light shine, not just when things are great, but especially when they're not. And this quote from Joshua, wow, it's held up as this powerful public declaration. This isn't something you just think to yourself. It's a bold statement of leadership. It's you planting a flag and saying, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
You're setting the standard, not just for yourself, but for everyone under your roof.
So all of this, the hard work, the dedication, the 24/7 mindset, it leads to one big question. Why? Why do it? What's the point of this kind of all-encompassing, really demanding commitment? What's the ultimate reward? Well, the answer, he says, is right here in Colossians. It promises something very specific for a life of service. You shall receive the reward of the inheritance. And you can just tell from the language, this isn't some small prize. This is something profound, something eternal. So what is this inheritance? Well, it's not money or property. It's the ultimate spiritual destination, a complete, final union with God. The sermon uses this beautiful metaphor of a wedding. It's like you're engaged here on earth, and that commitment leads to the ultimate marriage, this eternal union in the hereafter.
But the impact isn't just personal, and it's not just about the afterlife. This is so important. This commitment becomes a living, breathing legacy for the next generation. Because it's not enough to just tell kids what to believe, right? They need to see it. They need to see that teaching actually walking around in us, in our daily lives. So that leaves us with a pretty big thought to chew on. This whole idea is about a kind of commitment that completely redefines who you are. It turns a hobby into an identity. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Even outside of a religious context, what in our own lives really demands that same level of dedication? Our family, our work, our principles? What are we willing to be all in for? It's definitely a question worth asking yourself.